I mean, yesterday was a really tough day for everybody in Nottingham and for people in our team as well. I've worked in Nottingham for 10 years. All our staff are Nottingham or Nottinghamshire residents. You know, the WhatsApp group that we'd had to kind of coordinate what was our coverage of these terrible incidents was just silent. It was absolutely horrific, and I can't imagine, I don't even want to imagine what those families are going through right now. You saw them yesterday at the vigil, the University of Nottingham, sitting there in the front row. Barnaby, one of the victims, his brother was sitting there holding a photo of his brother. That was Charlie Webber. And of course, you heard the dads there as well. I don't know how they got up on that stage and paid tribute, but I think they probably felt moved by the hundreds of students that turned out just to show their support and solidarity there.
And they both spoke about how much they loved Nottingham. Being students, it's not where they're from. You know, they were from London and Taunton, but clearly, I think they both spoke about how much they struggled to get them to come home from Nottingham. It's clearly a very strong student community there, which has really come together in the past couple of days.
Yeah, exactly right. Nottingham is a student city. We've got thousands of students here that contribute greatly to the economy, the vibrancy of the city. And when they go home in the summer, it's like we've lost a big part of our population. They're, you know, brilliant part of Nottingham. They make it what it is. We've got two massive universities here, Nottingham Trent University and the University of Nottingham. And, you know, the student community's really come together in the wake of this, but there is a fear now of, you know, is it safe? I mean, I would say it is safe, but it's obvious why they're worrying, because these attacks were entirely random.
And so what's happening today in terms of the vigil, which is taking place later?
Well, there's a vigil organised by Nottingham City Council, which is taking place at 5:30 this evening, and that's going to be in Old Market Square. If you know Nottingham, it's the centre of the city. It's right in front of the council house. We always have big events there, something entirely different, but when Forest were promoted, there was an event held there as well. So we're expecting a massive turnout there this afternoon. I think the council leader is going to be there. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nottingham, Professor Shearer West, will be there again as well. Of course, she gave a very emotional speech yesterday at the vigil, and we think the families might be making an appearance again as well, although obviously depends on how they're feeling and if they feel up to it. But we've not talked about the third victim very much.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Ian Coates, because obviously he was named a bit later. But we've heard moving tributes as well from his family.
Yeah, that's right. Although the family are kind of they've been a bit more closed than the students' families, I would say, at the moment. But Ian Coates was a Forest fan. He was a city school caretaker. And I think this afternoon at the vigil later on, we might see more of a tribute to him coming out, and perhaps the family will be there too.
And actually, just finally, what's the latest in terms of the man that was the 31-year-old man who was arrested on suspicion of murder just after the attacks? He remains in custody?
He remains in custody, and we've heard as well that there was an extension granted by Nottinghamshire Police at Nottingham Magistrates Court yesterday afternoon. So he could be held up to 96 hours now. Obviously, you are allowed to do that if you're arrested on suspicion of a very serious offence like murder. So that was granted yesterday afternoon in private in front of a judge. And, you know, we'll see what happens. It's in the police's hands at the moment, and proceedings are active, so we can't really speculate any further.